Sounds. And this is an hour?
Yeah.
Or is it loading?
An hour. Yep. All right, good morning everybody. Nikki Burnett here, Taste Life Nutrition. This is Taste Life Nutrition Radio, streaming live on KUHSdenver.com. Today we have the amazing Scott Friedman. We had a conversation back a few months ago, and I'm really excited to have him join us and to share all of his wisdom because he has a lot to share. And I really appreciate you joining us, Scott. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Hopefully I have enough wisdom that people find valuable.
I think any wisdom is valuable. If we hit one person, that's what matters, right?
Sure.
It's important stuff. So, cool. Oh, I need to turn my music down. All right, very good. So, as always, we start the show with gratitude because I believe that gratitude can change the world. It's important to wake up in gratitude. I try to. I don't always. Sometimes I forget, but I tend to try to wake up with my little time. First thing I think of is sort of my thanking God for the things. So I'm waking up in those first few moments just being grateful, and then in my prayers same thing. So Scott, what are you grateful for?
Excuse me, this one's easy. Last week I had whatever was going around, some major flu, and I was barely able to get out of bed, and now I'm feeling close to 100%. I can talk a lot better, so I do apologize if it still comes out the way, but I am very grateful for feeling better because for the first 4 or 5 days I was like, this is never going to end. So I am grateful that I'm feeling my body's rebounded, I am feeling better. So
good. Yeah, it's tough to be sick. It's tough to, it happens no matter how healthy we are, right? Sometimes it's just gonna hit us, and it's the way that it goes. So glad you're feeling better. I know it's no fun. Knock on wood, I've not had anything yet this season, but I'm sure my time will come. So I'll be grateful for that. But I think that, this morning I was thinking about, what I'm grateful for. And, it's fun because I'm a little bit of a nerd. I said this last week, where this is my favorite time of year. I'm a summer girl. I love the heat. But Christmas, I just love Christmas. I love everything Christmas is about. And so I got it. Well, that's not totally true. I love what Christmas is originally about. Let's take away the commercial aspect of it, but I'm grateful for our Savior. But it was fun getting into the car. I had my Christmas music going, and it just makes me happy. It just is a really happy time of year. So I think that I'm silly enough. I'm grateful for Christmas music. Good, not old Christmas music, but real Christmas music. The Jingle Bells is fine, and it's fun and happy, but the reason for the season, essentially, right? And so I just love good, happy Christmas music. So that's what I'm grateful for today. It just makes me smile. So let's do this. Let's jump in, Scott. I think that the way we typically like to start the show is just talking about you. You are what you're doing for a reason, which is, why we're all here, right? There's things that happen in our lives that bring us to where we are today, which is, it's great. It can be hard, when we're going through whatever it is, but we're here. Sorry, I'm not saying this very well. The people who I like to bring on the show are the people who have a story, and there's a reason. They're givers, they're lovers, they are here in service, and that's my whole point. And so we like to know how you got to this place, and then we'll jump in with just having some good old fun conversation.
Sounds good. No, I think you explained it very well. So I'll give you the cliff notes because there's a lot to there. I'm not sure which ones you kind of want to hit, but really it's, I've been a personal trainer for a decade now, and I started off in actually physical therapy. So physical therapy was the route I went in college originally, and I realized fairly quickly that I didn't want to sit behind a desk all day, and I didn't want to handle rehabilitation. I wanted to handle prevention. That was a big thing. I wanted to help people lose weight, which is, 80% of what people want to do is lose weight right now, considering, if I think it's 42% of the country is obese, 72% is overweight, so there's a lot there. But I wanted to help people achieve their goals because it was actually very easy for me to do, and I wanted to share my knowledge with other people. So that's kind of how it started. And I very quickly learned that the fitness industry is not great. It's not great. And this is as a personal trainer, like someone who still trains around and does all that stuff. And I still work for a company that does personal training. So I'm not against personal training, but I think the industry itself has some issues. Now, the biggest issue I see, or I saw at least, was it's so commercialized, right? Everything is very much sell, 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 sell. When I got out of college, it was sell personal training, sell personal training. And I'm sitting here like, well, I don't have a sales background. I didn't do it. I did this to get into helping people by losing, to whatever their goal is. And I was like, okay, I don't want to be selling because the whole purpose of this is to actually help people. And if I have 100 clients at one time, I cannot help all 100 because it's 30-minute slots, and you're going back to back to back to back, or you can't make any money and you can't survive. So there's got to be a happy medium. Luckily, I was in a situation where I didn't have to do that. But I realized, okay, I can help people. This is great. I have this awesome knowledge base. I'm pretty good at what I do. I've helped a lot of people. I always get good feedback. But something's missing. Why is it that half the people I train they get it? They understand what they have to do. They listen to me. They know they have to cut back on X, Y, Z. They do it, and they just need the guidance, and they're pushing forward. But then why does the other half, and this is where it really struck me, do they struggle so much? I mean, it's not 50-50, but you get the idea. I tell them what to do. They have the exact roadmap of what to do, and they don't do it. I can tell them, hey, I need you to walk for 5 minutes today. And for whatever reason, they did not have 5 minutes on any given day in the last month to walk. And they will fight you every step of the way. And I realized that regular training modalities and regular training mindsets of just work hard, grind through, was not the only way to get someone to achieve their goals. In fact, it's definitely a piece of the puzzle, but you're missing a significant portion of what you need in order to achieve success. So I'm going through this, right? I'm talking to clients. I'm failing at figuring out what's going on until finally I started to realize that it wasn't the personal training, because I can write some of the best plan in the world and the best nutrition program in the world and do all these different things for them, and they still don't succeed. And the reason for that is internally focused and not externally focused. And so what we're doing with personal training, I was doing was using an external focus to try and solve an internal dilemma that someone was having. And once I realized that, it became clear that I had to switch my approach. So yeah, years of studying, going through everything. Actually, COVID was a big kind of eye-opener, because that's when I had a lot more time to really kind of learn and go through things and kind of figure some new stuff out. And basically, I figured out that a lot of what ails people is not that they need the best diet, whether it's keto, paleo, Whole30, vegan, whatever. It's not that. It's not that they need the best workout program that has the most muscular stimulation and Arnold Schwarzenegger uses this method. It's not that. It's what they need is to discover what is actually holding them back, because there's an obstacle in their head right now that they're not even necessarily aware of that's holding them back. And so I started that kind of journey to help people in that perspective. I still help with the fitness nutrition, but that's just I would say that's more of an ancillary issue when you're looking at someone's mindset and how they think about themselves, how they think about their goals. And once you can dive into that, you're significantly more likely to obtain success.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I see this in practice all the time, and it's a big part of where we are moving as a, I say the word holistic, it really is becoming truly that word, although it's a little dated at this point. But we can't continue to separate our mind and our body and our spiritual life and our financial life and our traumas and our generational history, right? There are all of these things that play such a huge role in everything that we do, including how we approach weight loss or how we approach an illness, and it's one of the things that I've had to learn. I went to school, and I'm a biochemistry nerd, right? I mean, I like labs, I like numbers, I like understanding what the body's trying to tell us through through these reports, and it just lights me up. I'm like, this is the coolest stuff in the world. So what I had to do though, and we hit on this when I was in school, not as much as I've had to do it on my own at this point, and I have great referral partners, but I have to be very cognizant about taking into consideration when I do an intake, I'm seeing all of these things that people have dealt with within their life, because it is, prior to birth until today, all of the things that life is. And the amount of trauma that I see is horrendous. It's horrible. And so these things, I have to keep in my mind when I'm working with people, as anybody who's working with people holistically, is it the trauma that's creating a block? Is it a generational thing that's creating the block? What is it that is not allowing us to move forward in whatever it is that we're trying to do, right? So I deal a lot with GI dysfunction. I deal a lot with autoimmune conditions. These are the things that I work with. And a lot of times, just like you said, a lot of people respond really, really well. And then there are those, and I'm like, what is going on here? And so the amazing thing is I have a lot of clinicians who I can consult with, and we can bounce things off of each other. But a lot of times there's trauma that's creating, a block. And so anyway, it's fascinating how the mind plays such a huge role in our physical health, and vice versa, right? If we're not feeling well, it's going to affect our mind.
100%. I mean, I had that just now. I mean, whatever this flu thing is going around in Chicago or in the Midwest, like it's been 12 days since I've been able to work out. I haven't really seen anyone after the first couple days, and it's like, again, not in a terrible, horrible way. There's clearly worse things going on, but it's really like you're sitting there, you're like, man, I don't feel good. It's not physically. I can eat whatever I want to eat. I can get up. I can move. But I am just mentally, like, I am drained. I can't watch. And then you're sitting there and you're watching TV because there's nothing else to do, and you're like, I feel terrible. Like, mentally, I need to talk to someone. I need to get out of the house. I feel that right now. I was like, I need to, because I'm still not trying to be around people because I don't want to get anyone sick. And I'm like, I'm getting itchy. I'm getting like, okay, like, how do I feel better? Because this is not normal for me. And like, and that plays a huge impact. So my mind is really kind of, my body's played a big impact on kind of how my mind's feeling right now. So I totally can see that, yeah.
Yeah. That's a great way of putting it, in simple, not that it's good or it sucks to be sick, right? But in simple terms.
I do it for the people.
Yeah.
To show everyone. I got sick on purpose to explain that exactly.
Right. Nice job. Good timing. Yes. I like it.
I try.
So one of the things, we entitled this show, Create Lasting Change to Live the Lives We Desire. So what does that mean? What is it that you do? How do you help people to change their mindset so they are creating lasting change?
So I think one of the first things I talk about is we have to get away from this notion of the best diet, the best workout routine, and focus more on, what are the actions we have to take in order to achieve success. So I break this down into 3 categories, because I think that these are the 3 umbrella categories that I use, and I think they've been very valuable to clients I've had in order to create lasting change. So number 1 is goal setting. It's annoying, it sucks, I get it, no one wants to hear that. Everyone talks about it from when you're 5 until you're 100. But I use SMART goals. I just think it's the easiest modality. So, specific, measurable, aligned, realistic, timely, whatever the word is you use for SMART goals. But break it down, because most people have a goal that's like, I want to lose weight. Great, that doesn't help. I want to feel better. Great. You can't quantify either one of those things. So I want to make sure when I talk to someone, or when you're looking at yourself, so if you're looking at yourself and you have a specific goal, what is that specific goal? What is it that you actually want? It's, I want to lose 40 pounds in 6 months by doing X, Y, and Z, right? And that's a specific goal that's very valuable versus a very qualifiable, I want to feel better, I want to have less pain. Not qualifiable because you need metrics of success. So that's part number 1, is get very as specific as you possibly can about the objective that you're trying to achieve, okay? And I think once you do that, things can become more clear down the line. So that's the first part.
So it's okay if I interrupt you.
Go.
So one of the things that helps, I think can help too, is yes, and then visualizing what is it, why do you want it, and what is it that you're going to be able to do, right? And so I'm going to be able to go play with my kids without being tired. I'm going to be able to, depending on what, where you are and what your goals are, I'm going to be able to go do whatever it is without the knee pain, without, looking for the restroom, without, whatever the problems are. It's, it's getting, it's the things that are truly impacting life, right?
Yeah, and you hit the second point. The second key that I used is...
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. It reinforces that, like, this does make sense because a lot of people use it, is the why. What's your reason why? So now that you have a specific goal in mind, and these go, hand in hand, so that's why obviously you thought about it. Why? Why is it that you actually want to do this? And I don't mean 3 reasons. I mean, take out a piece of paper or an Excel document or a Word doc, whatever it is, and I want you to write out 25 reasons why. I mean, as many as you can possibly think of. The more the better. And the more of a visceral, and I mean like innate reaction that you can get from your reasons why, that's what makes it important. So for example, if your reasons why are, I want to be able to play with my kids when they're 5, 10, 15 years old, so I can play sports with them. I want to have less knee pain so I can walk upstairs. I want to be able to have shoulder mobility so I can wipe my own butt when I'm older, when I'm 80 years old. I want to be in a nursing home. Like, the reason does not have to be right now. The reason can be from now until, whatever you choose, the end of the reason. But the reason has to be important to you. And by the way, some reasons might sound vain. Your reason could be, I want to be that person on the beach that people look at. And that's fine, as long as it's important to you. Now, reasons why change all the time, but you need to ground your entire support system in an internal reason why you're trying to do this. And I explain why that's important later, but that's step number 2, is ground yourself in a reason why. Write out as many as you possibly can, make it visible. So put it on your desk, put it on the bathroom mirror, put it on your fridge, and make it a point to read it, or at least read a couple of them every single day. So that's step number 2 in that process. Agreed.
Yeah. No, keep going. I really agree, and I try to do that. I'm not great with it, and I usually just, because I'm in my office all the time, so it's always in my office, but I think it's such a great point and great idea to have it in your, in your other places, so you see it no matter where you are. I see it in my little dressing room, I see it in the bathroom, and in the mirror. I love that. That's a great point.
And I think the reason why that is crucial is because we tend to forget why we're doing on a regular, it's part of our life is to forget what we're doing. For example, like one of my current goals that I have for myself, depending on when this goes out and everything, is I want to be able to do a muscle up, and I want to be able to do a freestanding handstand. And I really like to get to the gym, I'm excited for it, and then I get to the end of the workout, I'm like, I don't want to do this right now. And so I always have a little note card with me that I can feel that reminds me, hey, hold on, before you got here, this was your goal, and now that you're tired, you don't feel great, it's been an hour, you want to go home, now the goal isn't important to you. And it reminds me to keep going. So whatever stressors you have in your day, your stressors in that moment tend to be more important than your quote-unquote long-term goal. So having constant reminders is extremely valuable, because then it reminds you, this actually is important to me, and I should spend the extra 5 minutes doing X, Y, and Z, or I should do whatever it might be. And on those days where you don't want to do something, it's very valuable. So not only do I say make it visual, I actually recommend, I got this from, I'm not sure if people would know, but Bob Proctor, who's basically like, he's big on, he not created, but he's one of the big proponents of the law of attraction and the 7 laws of the universe and things like that. His whole thing is carry a note card with your goal on it and put it in your pocket, so every time you're wavering, you can feel it. You don't have to read it, just feel it, and you know what it says, and you can read it to yourself in your head. So I think I'm a big proponent of that, because I forget every 20 minutes. I forget to go, I have to do that. I have to do that. And so to think you're going to remember your goal randomly, I just think is unrealistic. So I do whatever I can to help me remember.
Yeah. I love that. It goes back to, what you did, or what we did, probably a lot of people did when you were a kid, right? You wrap a string around your finger, and you're like, oh, that's why I wrap the string around my fingers, to remind me of whatever it is I'm trying to remind myself of. Another thing that I think is a good idea, depending on what your goals are, is put it on your refrigerator door or even in your refrigerator, right?
Yeah.
I think those can
Open it every time.
Yeah, right, exactly. And so and so everybody else knows, this is going out now. We're streaming live, so.
I said it in real life.
Yeah.
Live,
so I think a lot of people don't realize that too, but that's what I love about this is that we stream live, and so we hit, 200,000 people and growing, and it's really fun. Yeah, I love it. So anyway, carry on.
Yeah, and so the third key that I use. So first one's goal setting. Second one is your reason why. And third one is, now that we have to get out of the thinking phase, we get to the action phase, it's actions. It's what is the next smallest action that you can take that aligns with achieving your goal. For example, okay, and I legitimately mean what's the next smallest action. So if you're someone who, let's just use fitness as the main example, you want to start working out, and you have your goals, write everything down, what's the next goal? What's the next thing you can do? So like my action item is, I probably need to get a gym membership. Okay, I need to call them. Okay, I'm going to call them. Next, I'm going to buy the membership. Okay, I'm going to buy the membership. And then eventually it's, okay, I need to wake up. What time? And you're going to plan out your times. You're going to go to the gym. What time can I go? Okay, I'm going to go in the morning at 6 a.m. Okay? And then it's slowly but surely taking those small actions. Now, some of you might not start at the very beginning. Some of you are starting at, I've already gone to the gym, I just need more. Whatever, start where you're at, and that's totally fine. But you need to create action steps. Do not try, and not everyone has the same methodology I have. So some people might say the opposite of me, and that's fine. I think inherently whatever works for you is good. Yep. But I'm a huge proponent of starting off slow and building your way up. Because what I see is that, let's talk about New Year's is coming up in the next, 3 weeks? 75% of health-related goals for New Year's are done after the first 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then I think it's like 85 or 90% are done in the first month. Why is that? Part of which is they don't follow the first two steps of setting real goals and setting up the reasons why. But part of that is also they jump in way too quick. Yeah. I mean, they go from not working out at all to 5 days a week. Mm-hmm. And they don't realize that their body is going to absolutely hate them. It's going to fight them every step of the way. They're going to be so sore, they can't move out of bed. So, and apologies for coughing.
You're good. You're good.
And so starting off slow. So if you're not working out at all, try 1 day a week for 2 weeks. Then go up to 2 days a week. If you're doing 30 minutes, go to 45 minutes, right? Like there's little things you can do, so take little steps. Is it packing your clothes the night before? Mm-hmm. Is it warming up your car 15 minutes ahead of time? Is it going at a different time of the day? What is the next step? And you can create an action plan of like what the steps are you have to take, and that's totally fine as well. But take one step at a time and just keep moving forward every single day, and then eventually you're going to be on the real path you want to be on. But you're going to build all these habits along the way, and that's going to create discipline, and that's going to create you to keep going further and further every single time. And that's kind of the 3 steps that I implement with the people I work with, and I recommend everyone implement if they want, and in any field that they're trying to get better in, whether it's career, relationship, whatever it might be. I think these are 3 universal steps that you can use in order to see success and keep it, because if you just jump in, you're just hoping that it works. Mm-hmm. You're just hoping that, I hope I'm going to stay motivated this whole time, and we all know, or most of us know, that motivation only lasts like 2 weeks, and that's why a lot of people also fail at a lot of their goals after 2 weeks. It's like, I'm not motivated, I don't feel good, I guess this isn't right for me. It's like, well, no, you're not supposed to feel good all the time. You're supposed to build discipline, and you do that by creating small steps along the way over and over and over again.
That is the key. It really is the small steps, and that's how I try to work with my clients is like something that you said, which is I think so important, is meeting people where they're at, right? Meeting people at that place and saying, okay, this is your tiny baby step. This is your tiny baby step. This is your tiny baby step. One of the things that for me that I realize helps me each week, because my schedule is so crazy, and I say this hoping that, sometimes, we talk about how we do things. It helps people think outside the box a little bit, because that's how I am. I have a hard time seeing outside of what I know, and I need people. It helps me. It means why we have coaches, right? It's why we have people who know things better than we do, is because they help you see outside of what you already know. So we do CrossFit, my husband and I. And I cannot do.
Scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
Well,
I don't do CrossFit, so.
Well, but you're trying to do muscle ups. I mean, that's CrossFit stuff.
More like strict muscle ups, not like. But yes, I've never done like a kipping pull up, so I'm very unfamiliar with the mechanics of it, and that's what I'm struggling with. So yes, if I did CrossFit, it'd be no problem for me.
Yeah, wow. So I had a PR the other day, which was my first pull up, which I'm
Congratulations.
strong, but I got a pull up, and then I got a kipping pull up 3 in a row. That was cool.
Pretty good. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, good for you.
So anyway, I think I'm going to sort of sidebar off of that just a little bit. Is yes, we do CrossFit, but we go to a gym who's very aware about what we should and shouldn't do, about form, about function. It's all about functional movement. It's not all about just, hitting it hardcore no matter what. So not scary here. Yes, you can get hurt, but you can get hurt doing anything. You want to be aware of your form, be aware of your movements. That's why we have really great coaches who, if we're not doing something properly, they're going to tell us you got to stop or you got to take the weight down, because it's not, if your form isn't good because your weight's too heavy, that's not doing you any good. But back to my whole point is that each week I will look at my calendar, because my calendar is crazy all the time. I have clients at all different times, and I have where'd you go?
I was like, I'm not sure if you can see it or we can see it.
No, they could see you, but I did see it. Like, what happened? So, yeah, sometimes that happens. I don't know. Anyway, glad you're back. But thanks I saw you point. It's like, what? So each week I will look at my calendar and say, okay, this is what my calendar looks like. When can I get to the gym? So I'm doing it like on Monday morning. My husband and I get together, okay, when can we go throughout this week that's going to work for, hopefully, us together, because we like to go together, but at least so we can get in our times. And so it might be 6 o'clock in the morning, which is not my husband. He won't do that, and I don't really like to, but but I will.
Gotcha.
But up to, the 5:30 class, and we just fit it in where we can fit it in, which is also the great thing about being an entrepreneur is, you set your schedule and you fit it in, again, where you fit it in. But just taking that little bit of time to plan your week, because I'm scheduling things out for weeks at a time. So at the beginning of the week, then I'm like, okay, here's where I'm able to fit it in, and make sure that I can fit it in somehow. So anyway, I just want to throw it out there because, I think that if we, and I've learned this about myself, if we take it day by day, unless we just have a time that we always go no matter what, but if you just take it day by day, there's always going to be the schedule that fills up, the reason not to go, because that's what I do. I'm busy. I have stuff to do, but we have to have our priorities, right? And this body is what takes us through life. And so we have to have our priorities.
I agree, and I like to make a point of that as well, because most people think like trainers are unique in the sense that like, oh, they just make it happen, like they have this genetic thing. It's like no, like I wasn't a trainer for the first 22 years of my life, and then I became one, and what changed is really nothing except my knowledge base of it. But I'm the same way. So I used to work a 6 a.m. to like 2 p.m. shift, and then I have to work out after work. Working out after an 8-hour shift or a 9-hour shift or a 10 or 12, whatever it is grueling. I can appreciate that, and I would miss more than I would care to admit. I would be like, you know what? I'm tired today. I did a lot of work. All the rationalizations start going into your head, whatever the excuse is. And I would work out. And that's because my kryptonite is working out after a full day. I am the person 100% who needs to work out, but maybe not first thing in the morning, because I don't like how crowded it is at 6 in the morning, but close enough to where it's before my day starts. And that's because if I wait, I will find any excuse. Oh, I can't go. The fridge is on. I have to sit down and watch TV, or just whatever ridiculous thing you're going to say.
Yeah.
I will do that. That's 100% me. I have to go in the morning. If I don't go in the morning, the percentage chance of me going after that decreases by roughly 80%. It is very difficult for me to go after I've already been at work, I've been working all day, I'm doing all this stuff, my mental energy is just gone.
Yeah.
And, willpower, people think like, oh, if I can't do this, I don't have all this willpower. Like, willpower is fleeting as well. You have a battery every day, and your willpower is being used all day long. I like to go work out when my willpower is high, so that I can actually go. But when my willpower is low, just like everyone else, I won't go. So it is super important to find the time when you know you're going to go, so that you can go. Now, obviously, I think part of it is if you have a strong enough reason why, you'll make whatever you have to do work, right? If you only have one time and you know you hate that time, you'll make it work. Now, luckily, I have the opportunity to choose, and so that's why it's harder to pick the afternoon versus the morning. But if you don't have the opportunity to choose, that's why your reason why it's so important, because it'll help you get through that terribleness that you're feeling about going. Because once you go, or once you actually start moving towards, take actions towards the goal that you have, whatever the goal is, you're going to feel better. It's all in your mind. It's all like, I'm dreading going, I don't want to go, I'm only going to go for 10 minutes today, and then I'm going to leave, do a quick one, and then you get there, and you're like, well, I guess I'll do one more set.
Yeah.
Or I guess I'll do one more exercise. It's always worse in your head for some reason. It's because we rationalize that our body doesn't want us to change, all these different reasons. And so I will say, though, but when you are planning, like you said, plan something you want to do. Like, try and make it what you want to do. It doesn't have to be an hour. You only have 20 minutes because maybe you're a new mother or a new father and you have these kids at home. Like, fine, don't go for an hour. Go for 10 minutes. Don't go to the gym. Go do push-ups in the garage. I mean, there's ways to make this work for you. And so I don't want people to think, oh, well, it's like you don't understand because you don't have the situation. So it's not about the situation. It's about what you're going to do to try and solve the situation. Yeah. And that's the key I want people to take away is it does not have to be an hour at a gym where you have to spend 2 hours traveling 10 minutes each way to get there. Plus, it doesn't have to be that. It can be 20 minutes in your garage or while your kid's playing doing push-ups every 2 minutes just in a break. Like, there's things you can do in order to achieve success in almost any realm. So I did want to make that point because I think people fire back at me a lot and say, well, you don't understand. I got sports for all these kids. I got to cook dinner. I got to do this. It's like, I get it, but your goal is not going to achieve itself. And so we have to find a solution. And just because the solution isn't a mainstream solution doesn't mean it's not going to work for you. I think the statistic is basically if you were to add 20 minutes of brisk walking, like intense brisk walking to your day, 20 minutes every day, which is like less than 1% of your day, your percentage chances of any sort of long-term chronic disease decreases by 40%. Like, it's some crazy number. I mean, it's crazy how much walking itself just helps. And so little things like that go a long way.
Yeah. Well, and we've stopped moving, right? We've stopped moving. We sit at our computer, even if we're standing. I stand now. But even if we're standing, I even put a rebounder under, that I'll stand on my rebounder and try
to. What's a rebounder?
Oh, it's the small little trampolines.
Oh, oh my God, that's like 10 years ago. I remember that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That was like, oh my gosh.
No, they're still great. I mean, they're amazing because if you sit on a if you get they're not expensive. I think it was $40 or something. But you rebound 10 minutes a day. It's one of those things because of it's the bouncing effect on the body, right? It lowers blood pressure. It can lower, glucose levels. It helps with mindset. It is really this really short, amazing thing that you can do that is so healthful for the body. It's amazing. So anybody who's out there, it's 10 minutes. I mean, do more if you want, but 10 minutes a day on a rebounder will get you going to where then, okay, I want to do more, or now I want to go for a walk, or now maybe I want to go to the gym, or I want to go to the garage and do, the sit-ups and the pull-ups or whatever it is that we can do. And I want to go back real quick to willpower, because I think that's a really important one to hit on, because I think we oftentimes will blame ourselves when we don't have the willpower. And so I see this in practice when people get really frustrated with, well, I don't have the willpower to not eat this, or I don't have the willpower to not do that, or whatever the case may be. And what I have to do is help them take a step back, look at the situation, because especially when it comes to food and trying to understand your body, willpower willpower is tricky because it's so often it's not willpower. So often it's imbalances with hormones. Hormones are communicators. It's imbalances with hormones that are throwing you off and making you feel like you are craving something, right? So we have our satiety and our hunger hormones. Sometimes those can be out of whack. We can also have specific infections that make us crave more, and so that's why we test, that's why we look at labs, that's why we understand on paper what the body's trying to tell us, because these things that are going on in the body that we just think is just willpower and I can't do it, we got to stop blaming ourselves. Yes, we have to take control. Yes, it is up to us. It's up to us to find answers. It's up to us to seek out the people who know how to best help us when we don't know. That's why I seek out a bookkeeper and an accountant, because I hate numbers and I don't want it. I don't have anything to do with it, but I want it to be taken care of. I'm going to seek out people who need to help me. I mean, I have coaches, right? So I need my own mindset help. I know that there are things that I need to work on, and so I seek out the people who can help me when it's not my expertise. And so finding somebody, if you're constantly having cravings, if you're not able to move forward into creating these goals, find somebody like Scott who has the ability to help you take those little baby steps. Yeah. Take the baby steps, and me or any other practitioner out there who knows that sometimes you just got to get out of your own head, and you got to understand more about the physical, the mental, and the emotional in order to get through these. What I had another a clinician who was on with me at one point, and to her, I loved her the way she sort of painted the picture that you're on one side of the river, you got to get to the other side of the river. The river can be really freaking rough. And so you're going to go walk through the river, and you may fall down, and you're going to get back up, and it's going to be really hard, and you do all of the things. And I see this because my husband's a fly fisherman, so we're always in the river. But you get to the other side, and you're like, holy shit, I made it. Here we are. Okay, we're good to go. And there's going to be another river at some point. But I think I don't mean to just, sit on a soapbox, but it bothers me when people are constantly blaming themselves. I want people to take accountability. We are responsible for ourselves and nobody else. I don't want anybody else and I say this because I hate, I don't want the government responsible for me. I take care of me, right? And then you take care of you, and that's how we go. But it is about accountability, but also understanding and learning, right? And stop blaming yourself. So I'll stop. Sorry.
No, you said something so, I think, so profound in that, and I want to hit on that a little bit, because this is such an interesting topic that you really, I don't think you can hear this anywhere else. Okay, like this is a really cool topic. I'm going to say one thing to get to the point, because I have to kind of get to the journey, get across the river here in my explanation.
Yeah.
Is most people jump into something because it's shiny, it's cool, their friend did it, it's so easy, all this stuff. Uninformed optimism. I stole this from somebody named Alex Hormozy, so if he hears this, big Alex Hormozy fan. Uninformed optimism, because we're so excited, oh my gosh, that new look at a picture diet, insert diet here, works for everyone. I can lose 50 pounds without even trying in 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, I'm going to do it, right? So uninformed optimism. Yep. Then you start doing it. You're like, wait a second. I have to buy this. I have to do this. I think all these protocols, right? And I'm not saying any diet is good or bad. What I'm saying is we don't realize what it takes to actually succeed with the diets. We look at the marketing online. How to lose 40 pounds in 1 month, guaranteed. Oh my gosh, let's go do that, even though it's not realistic. Yeah. So then we have uninformed optimism, and it turns into informed pessimism. Yeah. Now we know about it, and we're like, this sucks, because it's not what I thought it was going to be. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm no longer motivated. I haven't, it doesn't work, and you start the cycle over. What you just mentioned is this almost like a, not to get nerdy here, but like...
Get nerdy, I love it.
Almost like a multiverse. Like it's the parallel to informed pessimism. It's uninformed pessimism. So that's where, and that's like even more dangerous because you don't even understand why you're pessimistic. At least when you're informed and pessimistic, you understand, this is not what I wanted to do, this is not what I thought it was, this sucks. Now it's, I'm lazy, I don't have the willpower, I don't have all this. You're actually uninformed as to why you're feeling this way. We don't realize, and this is still hard for me, it's hard for a lot of people, I can't imagine anyone has easy with this, is eating food is actually very not tangible to us, because we don't see what's actually in the food, we don't see all the pesticides in our salad, we don't see what's being grown, we don't see the hormones interacting in our body and how things react. The best example I can give you is that let's say you were to have fast food for lunch, fries, a burger, whatever it might be, high sugar, really crappy, it's not real food. What happens 20 minutes after you eat the food, right? You have this sugar high, and then you have the crash, all right? That's the best example I can give everyone here of food impacts your body, and how do you feel during that crash? You feel lethargic, you feel tired, you're gonna feel lazy, you're not gonna have any willpower to do anything. Is that your fault, or is it something else that's causing it? And so when you say to yourself that, oh, I don't have the willpower to work out, or I don't have this, it's not necessarily you. You are ascribing a negative belief to yourself that you don't actually know to be true or not, and most likely isn't true, when you haven't actually, you don't have the knowledge base or education, and no fault to your own, okay, because it's very difficult, to understand actually part of the reason I have no energy today is because I ate this, this, and this, and this created this hormone imbalance in me, which caused me to feel this way. We can't see that, and I'm not, and you'll probably never learn how to see that, and that's fair.
Labs.
So that I would, you could, yes, you can. It's just very difficult. It can be very difficult, yes. But let's say you don't go that route. What you can identify is, okay, number one, the better I eat overall, the more healthy whole foods, the better I'm going to feel. But the second thing is, instead of ascribing a negative, I don't have the willpower, or I'm not good enough, or something along those lines where it's a negative belief to yourself, instead of doing that, you can add a couple things to it. Number one, say, I don't have the willpower yet. You can add that to it, right? Because then it means you're working towards it.
Yeah.
If you say, I don't have the willpower, that means, okay, nothing I can do about it, not my fault, I can't change. If you say yet, then it means you can work on that, because you can. If you can stop ascribing specific negative beliefs about yourself without actually knowing if it's true or not, I think that's actually very powerful. It sounds a little woo, I get it, because it's like positivity, and if I talk good about myself, everything will come true. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that when you say something, your brain hears you, like your body hears you, and it will react in certain ways. If you say to yourself out loud, I only see red cars, I only see red cars, I only see red cars, you're going to start noticing red cars. And if I ask you, hey, how many green cars are near you, you're going to have no idea, because you're focused on red cars because you keep talking about it and you keep thinking about it. So if you keep thinking how bad you are, how negative you are, how crappy you are, how unworthy you are, you're going to start acting in a way that supports that. And even if you're not even aware you're doing it, you're going to start acting in that way, and it's going to manifest, and then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Right. And so that's what I call uninformed pessimism, which is the worst thing, because it's like you don't even know why it's happening, yet you're just ascribing that you're a crappy person to it, or a lazy person to it, for no actual reason other than you don't know better than not to do that.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things I wanted to kind of touch on, because that's a very dangerous thing, and that's hard to break. And that's why so many people are in this cycle, like, I don't have that, I can't do that, I'm not like you. It's like, I'm nothing special, and yet I've been doing this for 10 years, and it's like, no one is special, they just have trained themselves to do it, and you can too.
It's true, and again, I think sometimes it's looking outside your own box a little bit, understanding the why behind it. I mean, that's what I do in practice on a biochemical level, is I want to understand the why. I want to understand why there's pain, why there's fatigue, why whatever the case may be. But if you find that you're in this cycle of negativity on all of these levels that we're discussing, it's time. I think it's about awareness. Sometimes we're just not aware of it. And what I hope from shows like this is that you start. It's these little tiny little light bulbs, right? It's that sparks. Like, what if I'm creating this constant negativity because I'm always talking negatively about myself? And I always think about, I said this several times, and I can't help but to say it again. My sweet mom, her whole life was always talking negatively about herself. And it broke my heart. And I realized, though, without even knowing, when I finally became aware, that I did the same thing. And sometimes I still do. And my husband will hit me on it, because we talk about this stuff. And we talked about, the way that she would do that to herself. It broke my heart, and I finally became aware of myself, but then aware of her. I mean, her first, and then myself. And I would tell her, you have to stop this. You have to stop this constant negativity and talking bad about yourself, because, like you said, it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so it is. I mean, life is about learning. Life is about educating ourselves and educating others, and all of these things. So just having that trigger that sparks that light bulb, I don't know if that even makes any sense, I hope it does, but whatever it is, to start to understand that you can turn it around. I have to work on it all the time. Not as much as I used to, though, right? When I start to see, when I get to that place, I will actually now realize it and back it up and say, no, I'm whatever, and then I'll just move forward with my day. So it really is a realization and awareness that we have to. It's a self-awareness, right?
100%. I think creating self-awareness, and I think awareness was the best way to kind of talk about uninformed pessimism. I think that was the word I was missing. So I appreciate that. That was really good.
Of course.
I think. So I like to give people some hope when it comes to like creating awareness. So I was someone who, I came out of college. Remember, fraternity brother. Just not a jock, but like sports guy. Like meditation was woo woo. Yoga doesn't matter. All this, right? I was in that mindset, and I have eventually switched over to, okay, there's something here, and it's valuable. So to create awareness, I used to get like really. I'm not sure if anyone else has like an internal monologue that's just like constantly playing in their head, or it's just me. If I'm the crazy one, but I'm always like, I'll randomly create a fight in my head of like something I'm mad about, and I'll go through the whole fight for some reason. And now that I have practiced more self-awareness, and I'll explain 2 things I've done that maybe people can take with them. Yeah. I'm able to see it almost like, you're like, wait a second, why am I worrying about this? Stop. Like, enough, move on. Yes. This is never going to happen. You're just making yourself angry. This conversation has literally never took place. You're just mad about something. Like, move on. And I'm able to do that more often now because of 2 things. One is I did start meditating. Now, it's hard. I don't think meditation is easy. I think that it takes a bit. I started with 5 minutes. I think I started with 3 minutes. But like, I quickly got to 5 minutes. And I did YouTube meditation videos. I wouldn't watch it, but I just have it on next to my ear. And like 5 minutes a day, didn't matter, morning, afternoon, night. Usually I think I did before bed just to calm down. I would do 5-minute meditations. Eventually, I would do 10 minutes on YouTube, and then 15 minutes on YouTube. Okay, then I had someone. Then eventually, from there, I went to self-meditation, where I would do my own meditation, where it's just like a self-reflection of the day. Okay, how did I feel today? What was going on? Where did I fall short? Where did I succeed? And I would just go through. I didn't care how long it took me. But usually about 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes. And then I would be able to reflect over and over again, and then I would be able to take that into a non-meditative state throughout my day to get, I'm more aware now. This is why this is happening. I feel this way, I should do this. And so I started to kind of take on those things to help myself feel better. And now I have a much greater awareness of what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and so on and so forth. Now, am I perfect? No, 100%. People do this for 50 years and they're not perfect at it. And so I've only done it for a couple of years. And but I do think it's a powerful tool to use, because the more you can become self-aware and the more you can self-reflect on whatever issues that you might have in your life, the more likely you are to break down whatever barriers in your way. And if you can break down the barrier to its smallest parts, then you're able to start pushing past it, getting past those issues so that you can start seeing success. And I talk about this all the time, is you break these barriers in your head. Imagine you're in a room and a tornado is just whooshing whatever's in your room right now. I got pens, markers, I got a table, I got garbage, like just, it's whooshing around your face, okay? That's what an obstacle is. You can't catch it, it's going crazy, you're trying to dodge, it's impossible. But when you self-reflect, the entire room becomes still. And then you can kind of pick things out of the air and organize them mentally, and that way things become more calm. And that's kind of the best example I can give
I love
with
that
meditation
so much.
versus non-meditation. Yeah.
I've not heard it put that way, and it makes perfect sense because that's what it feels like. And yeah, so thank you for that. That's awesome.
I'm trying. Hopefully someone will like that. So.
Yeah, I like it because I think I feel like that all the time. There's this kind of goes along with what we're saying about the negativity, and I hear all the time, whether it's friends or family or clients or whatever, is I can't meditate. My mind doesn't, it can never get still, and it frustrates me. I mean, I understand it because I've said the same thing early on, but because early on, yeah, because my mind still doesn't go still. Right?
No.
The stuff is still there no matter what, right? It's not like our mind is, and there's also this thought that, if our mind goes blank, then evil can come in. I'm like, to me, that's just silly. I've heard this, anyway.
I've never heard that.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I've never heard that. But
yeah, yeah. So I've heard it with meditation. I've heard it with yoga. Don't empty your mind because then leave space for evil. I'm like, it just makes no sense. For one, I think it's impossible. It's impossible for us to truly empty our mind, even if we're in a true deep state of meditation. The mind is still working. The mind is still going, right? That's when we start to have clarity and bring in, it's when we start to, for me, if it's when I start to listen, right? This is one of my favorite things. A friend of mine, he was actually one of the hosts on at this station. He said that prayer is talking to God and meditation is allowing God to talk to you. And I love that so much, and I've heard it a number of times since then. But it gives you that time of being still, and the time of being calm allows you to listen to what might be coming in. So some people might call it a download. That's fine. Call it what you want. I like to for me, it's God, giving me information. It's talking to me. It's, however you want to put it. But that being still, if we go to the biochemical level, right, it takes us, even if your mind's still going, right? So I don't want anybody to ever think that your mind's not going to go. But it takes us to this place where it allows our body to be still and move into the parasympathetic state, which is the rest, the digest, the calm, the nervous system is working properly, our GI function is going to work properly, we're going to break down and utilize our food because we have blood at the core and it's doing its job. When we're constantly in the state of our nervous system is in this sympathetic, it's in this, this stress, this go, the blood, so much of the blood goes to the extremities because it feels like we've got to do something. We've got to keep moving. We've got to do something important, whatever that important thing is. And so we don't then break down our food. Our body doesn't stay calm. It's always going. And so, this elevated cortisol level is catabolic then. So we break down muscle tissue. So it's all of these things that happen when we stay in this constant state of stress, when all we have to do, just like you said, it's what I tell my clients, sit still for 5 minutes. It might be in the shower. If you got to get away from your kids, sit still in the shower for 5 minutes. I've had people do that. Like, it's the only time I can do it. I lock the door and I sit still. And, whatever it takes for me, especially when it's warm, it's not now, I go sit in the sun. To me, that's God's hugs, right? So it's this warmth, it's this amazing thing that makes me sit still and calms my nervous system. So finding what it is for you that makes you happy and makes you calm and makes you sit, whatever that is, it's a game changer. It truly is.
I think one of the things I wanted to kind of hit back on was just big perceptual awareness change is do not think again, I'm not a meditation expert, so I mean, let them yell at me for later. But yeah, like my mind is never calm. I will think about what I want to think about intentionally for like 30 seconds, and then like have 3 minutes of BS. Yeah. And then what am I talking about? Get back to center. Yep. 30 seconds, 3 minutes of something ridiculous. I still, you go through it, but it's that 30 seconds that I didn't have before, then I can slowly build. So don't think that you're going to go into this and be calm and be monk-like and be, okay, this is perfect. I'm going to clear. No, I thought about so many fake fights in my head, or current fights that I'm in, or issues at work, and like that happens during that phase, and that's okay. That's totally fine. As you do it over and over and over and over again, you do get better at it, and eventually maybe you get to the point where the majority of the time is spent in what you want to be doing. That's the first thing, is that don't go into it. That's a wrong perception, and then if you have that perception, you're not going to succeed, because then you're thinking about it the wrong way. So just when you go to meditation, I do believe that you're going to be wound up, you're doing these things, but it is valuable to do nonetheless. Yes. And then the second part of that is, I don't have time to get into it, nor am I an expert in this field, but people can look up or talk about, when you meditate in a certain way and you get good enough, you start to enter different brain waves. We talk about alpha, beta, and theta brain waves, and there's actually a science behind meditating in a certain brainwave area when you can get to a deep enough relaxation part of it, that you can start actually getting a sense of real clarity in your life, start to help manifest things physically, and it's all about kind of what brainwave you're in and how you're able to meditate to get there. So I think those are really interesting concepts, because as you create that self-awareness, as you kind of feel good about what you're doing, you enter different brainwaves, and that can connect you with whatever source you believe in, and you can really feel good about that.
Right, I totally agree. And what's so much fun about, I don't usually use the word science anymore. I think science has been taken over, but about saying what you're saying. So there's data behind this. So we've gone from what so often we thought was the woo-woo about all of these things, whereas meditation is biblical, so definitely not woo-woo, but there still is that the manifesting and the and the brainwaves and what these things can do for a body, and what anyway, I'm not speaking well, but point to all of that is we've taken the woo-woo and we've got hard data behind it.
We've got hard data to suggest that if you meditate in a theta state, that there is pretty strong evidence to suggest that you can manifest certain thoughts, or at least they will manifest actions in a specific way for you.
Right.
I can list a couple doctors that do this kind of stuff, but there is evidence out there. It's not just this random thing that some person thought of one time. There is some stuff behind it. So if you're someone like me who is totally not into it at all, like this is the stupidest thing, I've started to become more aware of what's out there. I'm like, wow, this actually is a very interesting concept, and there's at least a handful of studies to back it up.
Yeah, I think there's more than a handful. I think that there's
it's pretty well established, in my opinion.
Good data behind it, yeah. Awesome. Well, we only have a couple of minutes left, and so this has been really fun. Thank you so much. I want to make sure that if there's anything else that you want to hit on, that you do, but you also tell people where to find you.
I'm everywhere. No. Yeah. So on Instagram is probably my most active places, just Scott Friedman 24. I use my personal as my brand as well. YouTube, I do short form videos, things like that. The Power of Progress. And then the podcast. Podcast is kind of the main way to reach me, or the main way to listen. So The Power of Progress, Mindset, Emotional Momentum, Spotify, Apple Podcast. If you want to reach me, feel free. I try to answer all my DMs. I try to answer any things from the website, scottspeaksfitness.com. So I try to be as open to conversations as I possibly can be. But yeah, those are, I think, the main ways to find me: the podcast, YouTube, and Instagram.
Perfect. Well, I'm grateful that you joined us. This was a really good conversation. I hope that if anybody has any thoughts or questions, you can certainly reach out to either one of us. You can find me at tastelifenutrition.com is the website, and then Taste Life Nutrition everywhere. Kind of like what you said, it's sort of everywhere, right? The show is Taste Life Nutrition Radio and Podcast, where we stream live on KUHSdenver.com, which is where we are right now. But then we are the Taste Life Nutrition Podcast. That'll be out next week. And then YouTube, all the places. You can always find replays of the shows, any of your favorite shows, anywhere. And if you want to share them with people you love, that would be awesome too. So one last thing I want to make sure I put out there, because I can't not talk about it, is soulful conception. Soulful conception is purposeful living for a healthy body, a healthy pregnancy, and a healthy baby. I put this together out of what I see as a need. I had women and couples coming to me regularly who were wanting to get pregnant but were suffering with, go figure, GI dysfunction, autoimmune conditions, other symptoms and signs and things maybe that they didn't know why behind it. And so it is really taking the time to prepare the body for pregnancy, taking time to eliminate or reduce symptoms. This is about optimizing your epigenome. And when I say that, it's about creating health for today. It's about creating health for your child through the choices that you make prior to conception. It's about creating health for hundreds of years ahead. Because your choices today, our choices today, for those of us who are looking to grow and expand families, our choices now make a difference for hundreds of years. Literally. And this is not woo-woo either, there's hard data behind this as well. So it comes from the heart, and I'm excited about it. So if you have any questions, if you're thinking about expanding your family, growing your family, all of those things, whether you just need to optimize or whether you're really dealing with some junk that you want to address, let's talk about it. I have on the website, it's a free analysis for whether it's preconception or whether you're just dealing with junk. Fill it out. I'll reach out to you personally. We'll talk about it, see if I can help, or see if I know somebody who can, right? So my goal is always to be a resource. I'm here to serve and to do what I can for anybody who I come in contact with. So that's what I got. It looks like the next 3 weeks, which has never happened before, I will not be here. I'm not absolutely sure about that, but we've got the Christmas coming up and potentially some travel plans. So either way, the show will be here. We'll have a replay. But anyway, if I don't see you, which I probably won't see you next week, but I hope that you all have an amazing Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Scott, to you. And yeah, have fun. It's going to be 2024, and let's just all, just dig deep for an amazing year to come. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next year. Bye. Thanks, Scott. Feel free to hang on with me just a second.